This is Charlie Parsons for Boxing Social. I'm delighted to be joined here with Mr. Get the Badge in himself, Maxi Hughes, but he's not got the badge in today. He's forgotten a badge. Turned up yesterday in a little Stone Island piece, expecting to do something. You've had to dash off for whatever reason, I don't know. I think my noggin might have just got on the camera there. No Stone Island today, but we're still here. We're still doing a little sit-down.
Hugo Boss and North Face.
Yeah, Hugo Boss and North Face. Yeah. How are you, mate?
I'm all good, mate. Now we've had a little chat with Eddie, so we know, we've got a plan now. So I'm happy I can drive home, happier knowing I've got a plan.
Well, let me ask you about that chat that you had with him. I know that you sort of walked along with him to the weigh-in. Eddie is a man who, like, we all basically just have to do anything we can to get our time with him. What did he say? What is the plan for Maxi Hughes in 2023?
So the plan is, it looks like we might be vacating the IBO and pursuing the IBF or WBC route. I'm ranked pretty decent with them, better with the IBF. So it looks like we're going to try and pursue that, get an eliminator, hopefully final eliminator, and become mandatory. He's been trying to get me this big fight with the Americans over there, but for one reason or another, it's not quite happened. So we're going to keep trying, but at the same time, we've got to keep busy and keep that momentum, keep the Maxi Hughes train rolling. So yeah, that's the plan. It looks like we might be out March. He's going to confirm with the manager and get a plan in place. So that's it. Hopefully the Maxi Hughes train continues March next year, pursuing the IBF route. So yeah, we'll see.
Is it a difficult decision for yourself to sort of get rid of the IBO? I know that sort of picking it up was probably the most monumental part of your career so far, but obviously you drop it and other opportunities come to hand. I suppose that only works out for the best.
Yeah, I will be sad to see it go because, I was never supposed to win that belt. I was a massive underdog against Straffon for that, produced a punch-perfect performance.
Boxed his socks off.
Yeah, absolutely, boxed his ears off, didn't we? Won every single round. So yeah, I'll be sad to see it go, but it's put me in a good position and maybe the time is right now to pursue. My goal is to win one of them main 4 world titles. So, let's pursue that. Let's pursue the IBF. See what Eddie can do now, working with my manager, and let's move on to bigger things.
You have got a ranking with the IBF, and obviously you're pursuing that IBF route. It's not the Cinderella Man story no more. It's the Maxi Hughes story. The man who I suppose you go into fights the favourite now. Obviously, we know the division that you're campaigning at has got a lot of special fighters, but that won't bother you. You're a man that's looking to go in there and cause carnage on the scene.
That's it. Absolutely. Don't shy away from a challenge. Always like to be the underdog. And in a division full of top names. What better way to do it? If I go and win one of them main world titles in this current red hot division that is, how good's that going to look? In years to come, say my kids can say, "Oh, Dad, we're a world champion."
They can say that anyway, mate.
Yeah, at the time that the lightweight's maybe one of the hottest times that it's had. So, that's what I want to achieve. So. We're now on the same page, me and Eddie, and that's the route that we want to pursue.
When you look back over the sort of last couple of years, because I remember I was sort of good pals with John O'Carroll and I was doing that interview, and that was meant to sort of be a fairly routine victory. But I remember him saying to me, like, if he could have picked anyone to lose against, it would have been you. And I suppose you never want to lose, but that's such a nice thing to come out with. Do you ever sort of look back over because I know that there was a time where you were thinking of like hanging up the gloves and you didn't know whether the boxing game was for you anymore. Do you ever sort of look back and pinch yourself a little bit?
I do a bit, yeah, because I went on hiatus, so I did temporarily throw a towel in and stuff. So yeah, I do look back now and I'm so glad I carried on. Yeah, but yeah, unbelievable. I know. I always knew I had it in there to have these performances and stuff, but until you actually start getting them and everything, and just going back to John O'Carroll, that loss he's had to me. How good does that look now? The more I do, the better that loss looks on his record. The more I achieve.
Look, we spoke about 2023 pursuing the IBF route, but in a dream situation, I know that obviously a lot of the belts are tied up at 135, but is it for you back end of the year to get yourself in, even if it just be sort of an outsider in a undisputed fight or whatever? You know, that's not going to bother you. Just push yourself for that mandatory position, get yourself as high as you can.
Yeah, if no big opportunities are coming to me, if Eddie can't get that, you know, just by putting my name out there and speaking to people, then I'll have to do it. You know, I'll have to go down that route of becoming mandatory. So I will 100% get my shot. So I know it's coming. You know, if nobody's going to give me it, I'll go and earn it. That's the sort of mindset that I'm in. So we'll just see. You know, get Josh's fight away tomorrow, and my manager then can get this plan and start looking to that first fight of 2023 and see where we're at.
Let me ask you regarding Ryan Garcia. Obviously, I think he DM'd you before and like... Yeah, so all right, I'm going to hand it to you. What went on? And I suppose now we're in a position where I spoke to Steffi yesterday and I spoke to you before. You're getting a little bit tired because you feel like it's not necessarily going to happen.
Yeah, he's like Eddie. Yeah. He's like that bird that everyone wants and no one can have. And she ends up going out with someone from another school. But yeah, so he's messaged me twice. He's reached out on 2 separate occasions. Once early on in the year, once back end of the year, wanting to fight me. You know, both times not materialised. And then the third time I reached out to him, which he stood me up when I saw he wanted to fight.
You left on scene?
Yeah. No, I don't think he's seen it. He's not even opened it.
Oh,
so
Ryan
absolutely ghosted me there.
Jobs fuck that.
Jobs fuck. Wait till I see him. Wait till I see him. So yeah, I just think that if Elter ever mentioned it ever again, I wouldn't. No, not that I wouldn't take that fight. I just wouldn't entertain it until it's something set in stone. Because been excited a few times over the thought of it, and it's just never materialised. So you know, I won't really get too excited about him.
I suppose especially with now the Tank fight being signed, and then I know he's having a fight in January, and we've seen the opponent, and it isn't you. But in a unrealistic world, if they said, "Look, we need an opponent for January 28th," would you?
Yeah, I'd take it. Yeah, of course, as long as the deal's right, I would take that. I'm in training, so see what can happen. See, you know, I suppose it's boxing out, can happen, can't it? Injuries happen, and they need last minute opponents. So you know, I'll keep training, and if that's available, I'll take it. Excuse me.
How many years, Maxi, do you see yourself left? And I know that you're sort of in the peak of your career, so you're not looking towards the end of your career, but you've been around the block, you've been around a while, mate. Does it obviously you're performing at the highest level, but is there a time where I suppose also your family comes into play? I know the missus won't want you to be hanging up the gloves just yet, especially when you're at your peak, but is there a sort of age that you put on it and you think, you know what, that would be a nice time if I've done enough to just sort of kick back, relax, enjoy my time with the kids, do the school run, make all the parents quiver as I wear my Stone Island?
Yeah. No, I haven't put an age on it because I don't want to make no commitments to packing in, because I feel like I don't get it in a bad way, but I just get so frustrated between fights when, you know, I know there's always a rest period which needs to happen after a fight. Well, then once I'm back in gym on training, I'm looking to the next fight, like I have been. I get frustrated and I get mad thinking I need that date, I need that fight date to focus on, and when I do pack in, I don't know what I will do.
I think a lot of people say that. Like we saw Kell Brook come out and he done an interview and he was like, when I retire, like how... Well, he has retired and he's like, it's all he's ever done, because you think you box as an amateur growing up and it's everything you do as a child. And then to just hang up the gloves, it must feel a bit weird. Yeah,
like for me, I'm going into my 13th year as a pro now, so... After a fight, a couple of months, you're always like, right, next fight, and you're working away to a date, a target, and all that. So when that's gone, I think I will be sad. So while I'm feeling good, while I'm performing well, and you know I'm not punchy out like that, I'm passing all my medicals still with flying colours. So while ever that's there and the fights are there for me to do it for a living, I'll keep doing it. Told my missus, don't be surprised if I'm still doing this at 40-year-old. So yeah, I don't want to commit and say I'm doing it till this age and then I'm done. So we'll see.
Just lastly on you, before we go on to Leeds, Josh Warrington this weekend, and then the world of boxing as a whole, how has life been for you since, I suppose, that John O'Carroll fight, and everything's changed? You know, obviously we talk about how lucrative financially, but also you're a bit of a star now, you're a bit of a name. You know, how has life changed? I imagine for the better?
Yeah, absolutely for the better, yeah. Obviously, like you said, things get easier when you're more financially better off. Just done a few autograph signings outside the weigh-in.
Did you? Go on, the boy.
Always nice to get notice, and I see it as credit, as a pat on back to say you've done well, and we recognise that. That's how I see that sort of stuff. But yeah, it's life's good. You know, like today I'm able to be off, so I go and watch my daughter in her school play. So yeah, I'm happy. You know, everything that I might get a little bit pissed off about, it's just me being, you know, I suppose old.
We're all human, mate.
Yeah, we're all human. We're all allowed to be pissed off, aren't we?
Just finally from me, onto the heavyweights. We saw last weekend Tyson Fury box the socks of Derek Chisora, causing a late stoppage. Just your thoughts on that, and then Anthony Joshua in the mix now, maybe back out next year. Obviously Usyk with Fury, the whole heavyweight landscape's on fire. I suppose I'll ask you first, can AJ get back in there to the top level where he's able to compete competitively with your Tyson Furies, or is that maybe seen his day?
No, I think I would never write anybody off like that, because you're only ever one performance away from, you know, being back in mix. That, let's look at Chisora, for instance. How many times has he lost? He gets a good win, and like we saw last weekend, he fought for a world title again. You know, top at bill in a massive fight. You know, nobody gave him a chance. So, you know, you can never, especially in heavyweights, because the top level, there's not loads of them. So you're only a win away from being straight back in mix. And obviously, Joshua's a huge name anyway. So, you know, he commands them big fights. So, of course, he'll whichever fight, you know, he's looking at the Dillian White fight. I believe that's a potential front runner for next year. So, you know, who wins that, he's back in mix to fight again. You know, to wait around, I suppose, if Fury fights Usyk, or I believe has Usyk got Philip Hrgović.
Hrgović was meant to be called, but I spoke to Bob Arum last week, and they said that the WBA would be first. It shouldn't be a problem. On that point, Fury Usyk, how does that go?
You can never write Usyk off because he's so highly skilled. He's shown Joshua's it him. Joshua can punch, and he couldn't hurt him and put him away. So you can't write him off. Very clever, very tricky southpaw, and he's not actually that much smaller than Fury. Obviously, seeing him in ring last week, I thought he's not loads smaller. I know in terms of weight, but you know, Joshua was bigger and more weight, and he couldn't do no weight. So interesting. It's a good 50-50 fight. You know, it's the best fight out there, I believe. Either that or Joshua v Wilder. Another good fight. So, you know, you just hope as a fan that these fights get made and they happen for us all.
Maxi Hughes, as always, a pleasure. Glad we got it done, and thank you for making the trip into Leeds. I know you had to see Eddie, but more importantly, your big mate Charlie. Just a final.
The brother from the badge.
Yeah, that's it. The brother from the badge. Get the badge in. Look, finally from me, just a message to your supporters, people watching. Been a difficult time this year for a lot of people, obviously cost of living crisis, etc. So yeah, I suppose I'll pass the mic to you, and obviously Christmas and the New Year to look forward to. Hopefully happier.
Yeah, again, everyone who supported me, thank you for your support this year, and you know, the last fight, everybody coming down to Nottingham, and for your continued support. Thanks for your patience, for bearing with us for some news, but we should have some news and hopefully announcement early next year, and the Maxi Hughes chain continues.
Maxi, top man, thank you very much for your time, bro.